Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Oliver Westmoreland. I am an ISC registered level 3 immigration advisor, and I am senior immigration lawyer with GSN Immigration. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell icon so you can continue to watch our extremely interesting videos about UK visa and immigration advice. My topic today is removal and deportation from the UK. This is a fairly complex, well, maybe two complex subjects. I want to break it down bit by bit. You may read in the newspapers, in the media, somebody was deported from the UK. They were thrown out of the country by the government, by the Home Office. Journalists always use this word, deportation. They use it every time. To be a bit more erudite and sophisticated, we need to understand the difference between deportation and removal. There are important legal differences. Sometimes the difference is important. You're a migrant, let's say. You become an overstayer, let's say. You are apprehended by the authorities, let's say. Home Office wants to remove you from the UK. You're a migrant. You are deemed to be breaking the conditions of your immigration leave. For famous example, you are a student. You're allowed to work 20 hours per week. Home Office discovers, or what they think they do, that you're working 30 hours per week. Home Office might seek to remove you from the UK. Now, it might happen or it might not happen. If it does, you've been removed from the UK, you've been thrown out. Consequences can be quite serious. You may get a time period ban on a successful application to come back to the UK. It could be, 1 year or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. It could be quite serious. It could mess up your life really, really big time. Some people who've been removed from the UK, they have a 10-year ban on coming back. Might sound strange, but deportation is worse. Deportation comes most particularly in the context of a criminal conviction, most particularly of a criminal conviction of at least 12 months imprisonment. As a result of that, the Home Office might very much want to deport you from the UK. Because of that criminal conviction, nothing more, nothing less. To put it in the legal words, if you have a criminal sentence, imprisonment of at least 12 months, you are liable to deportation. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it means that it might happen. It means that the Home Office are really going to try and make it happen. A lot of stuff you read on the internet concentrates on this, foreign national criminals. But I want to emphasize something else that is part of the law. The law is broader than that. The law, the immigration laws, it says this: irrespective of any criminality or that sort of bad stuff, the Secretary of State, which means the Home Secretary, the Home Office, if they think that generally somebody is a bad person, they can try and deport them from the UK without any criminal conviction or anything. This doesn't always seem to come up very clearly, but it's true, the way that the law is written. If you've got the criminal imprisonment sentence, Home Office may try and remove you. You can challenge that on grounds of human rights, like you've got very close family relationships in the UK. You've lived in the UK for years and years and years and years and years. You are firmly embedded into British society and you're a pretty good person. You can challenge a deportation decision, possibly in the first tier immigration tribunal, on that sort of basis. That's the only right of appeal against a decision based on criminality. The only right. Nothing else works. On the other hand, if the Home Office wants to deport you because you're a generally bad person, that you don't have criminal convictions, you can fight that more generally. not by way of appeal, but by way of judicial review. Now, I'm not going to go into huge depth about this, but let me tell you briefly and basically. Appeal happens before the first tier immigration tribunal. Judicial review is a more strange and complicated process that happens before the upper immigration tribunal. It's a much shorter, smaller process. You say to the upper tribunal, well, first of all, you have to or your lawyer, write a threatening letter to the decision maker saying, it's not fair, it's not right, we're going to challenge this by way of judicial review before the upper immigration tribunal. What do you say? They might say, oh, we changed our mind about 1 in a million times. most typically 999,999%. We don't change our mind, we are sticking to our decision. Deportation is a very difficult area. You have to fight very, very hard in every situation and circumstance. Judicial review, you make an application, or your clever lawyer, such as Mr. Shah, who has so far kept quiet in the background, make an application to the upper tribunal, say the decision is wrong, bad, unfair. Upper tribunal decide if it has any substance to it. Does it have any realistic prospect of success? And they're quite harsh, these people. It has to be something strong or compelling. The test for judicial review is a bit different from other kinds of tests. Appeal, if you have the right to appeal, you can just appeal. Judicial review, a bit different. The judicial reviewing judge thinks to themselves, not so much, is the decision good or bad, more like, is the decision within a range of reasonable decisions? Not whether I agree with it or not. Is it within a range of reasonable decisions? If it is, then it's fine, no problem. Going into a bit more depth, judicial reviewing judge thinks, does the decision show any error of legality? Does it show any error of irrationality? Does it show any error of procedure or something unfair? It's all a bit strange and complicated, but it's a rather narrow procedure. You've got to have a good case. If you have a good case, a compelling case, judicial reviewing judge will give permission to proceed with judicial review to the upper immigration tribunal. They take no prisoners, but I mean, some of these cases are successful. But you have to show that the decision is infected by error. Appeal is the same, but it's a lot different. You know, you might have a nice hearing in the tribunal with judge and lawyers and witnesses and things. Upper tribunal, you're not probably going to get loads of lawyers and witnesses. It's a very small, narrow process. Judge is like this. Can I accept this application at all? Yes or no? If I can, is there some bad error in the decision? If not, the decision stands. If there's something really wrong with the decision, judicial reviewing judge says, I will quash the decision, I will kill the decision, I will require the decision maker to take the decision again on the correct legal basis. Now, you may read in law books that this could result in you get the same decision made on a different basis. Real life shows this is indeed the case. You may get another refusal decision made on the correct basis, it's still a refusal. So judicial review is a bit clunky, to use a fashionable legal word, may not be successful, and of course you may rack up big costs. Probably, I don't know if you may get legal aid, maybe not. Judicial review is a bit of a clunky process, but sometimes it's all you've got. If you don't have a human rights argument and you've been issued with a deportation order because you're a bad person, the Secretary of State thinks it's conducive to the public good you be deported from the UK. That's how it is. Let me say something else. I said that deportation is more serious. I meant it very truly. Removal isn't great. It messes up your life big time for a while. Deportation order in some way is very, very more serious. You get a deportation order issued against you. Let me tell you this. If you can never get the deportation order revoked, you can never come back to the UK legally. Well, maybe illegally, but you can never come back to the UK legally at all. Ever. Until you can get the deportation order revoked, you can't ever come back. Removal is different. You know, even if it's a 10-year ban, after 10 years, you can start to rebuild your situation. Deportation doesn't work like that. You cannot rebuild your situation until such time as you get your deportation order revoked, which can be very, very difficult. You have to say, I'm a completely reformed person, and so on, so on, so on, so on. So you may never succeed because Home Office are pretty harsh in that. Mr. Shaw, I've raised a lot of stuff here. I'm sure you've got some questions.
Yes, please. Thank you so much for going into depth of this matter, and it affects a lot of people. I'll start by asking one of the questions. So, if someone has got either a deportation order or removal from the UK, do you think it's likely to affect their visa application for any other country, for example, going to the USA or anywhere else?
I'm not sure. I think it might. If the UK is anything to judge by, you apply for a visa to America, for example, which is notoriously quite strict. They might ask you these sort of questions. Have you been refused a visa anywhere else? I do know that some countries share information, so I think the answer might be yes.
Okay. You mentioned that one of those actions of an applicant lead to these decisions could be imprisonment, for example, for any of the deeds.
I think in majority of cases with deportation, it's an imprisonment case, imprisonment of at least 12 months.
Okay, and we've come across these two words quite often. One is custodial sentence and one is non-custodial sentence. Could you tell us what they mean?
I can do my best. Custodial means you get locked up. Non-custodial means you don't get locked up. Is that clear enough?
That is. Okay. Thank you. And what will be the impact on entry clearance for anyone who's been removed from the UK? I'll go for the strongest kind of visa, family visa, for example.
Well, look, family visas, they come under Appendix FM or possibly Part 8, but that's for children. Having been removed from the UK, it might not actually have great impact. Appendix FM is quite flexible. You can probably get away with it. Don't take that too strongly. There's not carte blanche, but you can probably get away with it because family member application. You've got the big human rights thing, haven't you? You've got European Convention on Human Rights, Article 8, family life. You can probably get away with that, but it's not unlimited.
Okay. And what about...
Can I say something? If it's not a family application, you don't get away with it. You know, if it's a working application or a study, you don't get away. You get the full force of the law upon you.
Wow. Okay. And if it's same entry clearance application under the family rules, however, the person have had deportation order made against them.
Well, that's not going to work. Like I said, you have deportation order which is live. Most of them are live. You're not going to succeed. It's not worth spending your money and not worth paying your lawyer fees, Mr. Shah, if you have that, because it's going to fail.
It's best to fight.
And if you advise them to do it, you're on the wrong side of the law.
I understand. So it's best to fight that deportation order first.
Yeah. Difficult process, but that's what you have to do.
Once successful, then move on to the application.
If it's successful, then an application is possible. And you shouldn't be discriminated against, but you never know, but you shouldn't be discriminated against. If your deportation has been revoked, you shouldn't be discriminated against, he says, hopefully.
Great. Just for a bit more clarification for the viewers, I would say so any kind of visitor visa application, for example, removal or deportation, it would fall for refusal.
Well,
right?
look, if you've got deportation order, it's going to be refused automatically without any further thought. Removal, it might, if you're not within that time period ban, you know what it's like with visitor visa applications, that they refuse them very, very easily. They know that there's no right of appeal. They know that there's no right of administrative review. It might do, but do understand this. If your client, or if you, migrant, you have deportation order which is live, it's a waste of your time applying for anything. You have to get it revoked first, if you can. And that's not easy either.
Sure. One last question. So let's say someone's got removal order against them or a deportation order. The person is still in the UK. You mentioned they can fight it if they've got strong ties with
Yeah.
the UK.
Human rights grounds, that
Could
sort of
be
thing.
family,
Family.
children.
Well, if you've lived in the UK for years and years and years and years, and you're embedded into British society,
Perhaps
I think that's going to
been
be
volunteering in the past.
yeah. But I think these applications are difficult. Family is stronger. To be brutally honest with you, family with children is the strongest. We appreciate your time for watching our video. We hope that you people enjoyed and found this video useful. If there are any further topics that you want us to make the next video about, please mention it in the comments and we will do our best to accommodate you.
Okay, brilliant. Perfect, that's good to know. And we would like to thank you for today's vlog, and we see you in the next one.
It's been my absolute pleasure. See you next time.